My brothers, my sisters, the Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
When the days were completed for their purification, according to the law of Moses, Mary and Joseph took Jesus up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord, just as it is written in the law of the Lord. Every male that opens the womb shall be consecrated to the Lord, and to offer the sacrifice of a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, in accordance with the dictate in the law of the Lord. Now there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. This man was righteous and devout, awaiting the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he should not see death before he had seen the Christ of the Lord. He came in the Spirit into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child Jesus to perform the custom of the law in regard to him, he took him into his arms and blessed God, saying, "Now, Master, you may let your servant go in peace according to your word. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you prepared in the sight of all peoples, a light for revelation to the Gentiles, in glory for your people Israel." The child's mother and father were amazed at what was said about him. And Simeon blessed them and said to Mary his mother, "Behold, this child is destined for the fall and rise of many in Israel, and to be a sign that will be contradicted, and you yourself a sword shall pierce, so that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed." There was also a prophetess, Anna, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was advanced in years, having lived 7 years with her husband after her marriage, and then as a widow until she was 84. She never left the temple, but worshipped night and day with fasting and prayer. And coming forward at that very time, she gave thanks to God and spoke about the child to all who were waiting the redemption of Jerusalem. When they had all fulfilled all the prescriptions of the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. The child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favor of God was upon him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I want to welcome the Scouts, our very own, Troop 104. And I'd like you to notice the beautiful banner. It was made by Alice and Victor Gordon. And Victor was very, very active in Troop 104 years ago. He actually came to Mass this morning in his Scout uniform. And he's probably now, I would say, in his 80s. But he's very proud of the troop. I myself was in Troop 205 in St. Anne's, and one of you said at your report the other night that you headed the Flaming Arrow. That was one of my patrols. Flaming Arrow and Fox. Mark and I were both patrol leaders. This was my oldest brother, so it was also a little competitive spirit there. Now, how often God comes into our lives through the innocence of a child? Ask any parent what a child has taught them about God. A reflection by an unknown author tells the story. We are sitting at lunch one day when my daughter casually mentions that she and her husband are thinking of starting a family. "We're taking a survey," she says, half jokingly. "Do you think I should have a baby?" "It will change your life," I say, carefully keeping my tone neutral. I want to tell her that the physical wounds of childbearing will heal, but becoming a mother will leave her with an emotional wound so raw that she will forever be vulnerable. I consider warning her that she will never again read a newspaper without asking, what if that had been my child? That every plane crash, every house fire will haunt her. When she sees pictures of starving children, she will wonder if anything could be worse than watching your child die. I look carefully at her manicured nails and stylish suit and think that no matter how sophisticated she is, becoming a mother will reduce her to the primitive level of a bear protecting her cub. That an urgent call, Mom, will cause her to drop a souffle or her best crystal without a moment's hesitation. I feel that I should warn her that no matter how many years she's invested in her career, she will be professionally derailed by motherhood. She might arrange for childcare, but one day she'll be going to an important meeting and she'll think of her baby's sweet smell. And she will have to use every ounce of discipline to keep from running home, just to make sure her baby's all right. However decisive she may be at the office, she will second guess herself constantly as a mother. That her life, now so important, will be of less value to her once she has a child. My daughter's quizzical look makes me realize that tears have formed in my eyes. You'll never regret it, I finally say. Then I reached across the table, squeezed my daughter's hand, and offered a silent prayer for her, and for me, and for all the mere mortal women who stumble their way into this most wonderful of all. Mary and Joseph must have pondered the words of Simeon and Anna, wondering what this meant for their child. They, like most new parents, probably had dreams for him. But the prophecy of Simeon and the words of Anna sounded somewhat ominous. Incidentally, the custom of blessing candles today comes from the fact in ancient Rome, the station for the Mass today was a church in the ruins of the Forum called Santa Maria in Foro. And since it was in the middle of the night, it was dark, and people needed the candles to find their way among the ruins. The devotion to the young Jesus, the light of the world, presents him as one who overcomes the darkness. And Simeon beheld Jesus, the brightest light, even with failing eyesight. Aging heart, aflutter with swelling love, he pronounced himself at heaven's doorstep. How many new parents have shared Simeon's love and gratitude as they cradled the very image of God in their own arms? Today we celebrate the feast of the presentation of the Lord, the formal end of our Christmas liturgies, in which the Gospel of Luke describes how the parents of Jesus bring him to be presented to the temple. We are told that they're following the Jewish law or practice, according to which every firstborn male must be consecrated to the Lord. And this act of presentation happens at the beginning of life because at this point of life, Jesus and all children are an open book. A book to be filled with God's law, to be dedicated to God. And the child's life now belongs to the Lord. At first sight, this would seem to be the ultimate denial of the child's freedom. The closing off of the possibility for the child to decide for himself how he wishes to view his life. Yet the reality that is, this is an act of ultimate freedom. The child's life is not measured according to success or failure in achieving a set of human goals, but in faithfulness to God's life-giving promises. We are free from the burden of self-fulfillment, for God himself becomes our fulfillment. But what of those who are not faithful? Those who refuse the gift of God? Well, to Simeon it has been revealed by the Holy Spirit that he would not die until he had seen the Christ, the Lord. And Anna, who the scriptures say was 84, had spent most of her life praying in the temple. These two venerable prophets proclaim that the child being presented in the temple is God's salvation, the Christ who will free Israel and be a light to the nations. He is more than optimism. He is real hope. And through this child, God will restore us to the faithful friendship we have lost by sinning. And more than that, he will offer us the adoption as his sons and daughters to share fully in his joy. Our past can burden us, mistakes made, hurts suffered, but the past, and for that matter the future, can only truly burden us if we judge our lives according to human standards. The hope of Jesus can transform us so that no matter how life has been lost, as much as we don't have hope, if we rely on the loving friendship revealed to us in Jesus Christ, we will discover that strength. And this is what Simeon and Anna proclaimed. In this child, God comes to save us by making us his friends. And that is not to say that emotional hurt or past goes away, but it gives us the assurance at the deepest level of our being that no matter how life has turned out, God presents us with a gift which goes beyond all human measure, his divine Son. Amen.